Well, all right, as you guys are well aware by now, the Detroit Lions have traded with the Cleveland Browns for Za'Darius Smith. That's right, the Lions have brought in a defensive end to now compete for the rest of the season with this Detroit Lions defense that has quite honestly been playing at a pretty high level. My question for you right away is, are you satisfied? Do you think that Brad Holmes is going to continue to pound the phones today to bring in more help for this defensive line? We have suffered a rash of injuries this season. It started with John Kaminsky early during the summer camp, and it has led all the way up to Aiden Hutchinson, Derek Barnes, Marcus Davenport, and others have been lost for the season. The Detroit Lions, quite honestly, have been put into this box that they have to get a pass rusher, that they must do something to help this team win. And Brad Holmes, he heard it, he felt it, and he knew that it was time to do something. So let's talk about, what happened today. What did the Lions give up? How much did Brad Holmes just snake the Cleveland Browns? Let me bring it up here for you guys. Now, this broke live while I was doing the morning show this morning. So I at least wanted to follow up with a little bit of a video here to at least explain kind of what the Detroit Lions did today and why this is so important. So as I said, the Detroit Lions added a pass rusher before the deadline today, acquiring veteran defensive end Za'Darius Smith in a deal with the Cleveland Browns. First reported by Adam Schefter. And that's right, Dan Campbell was actually live on air this morning doing his interview with 97 Won the Ticket when the news broke. Now, he didn't have much to say on the matter, but just said, hey, he has all the answers, right? So got to trust in what Adam Schefter is saying. Here's what Brad Holmes pulled off. First place Lions, might I add. The first place Lions, who have been seeking defensive end help since Aiden Hutchinson's leg injury last month. They received a 2026 seventh round pick from the Browns, who also traded Za'Darius Smith to the Lions in that combination package. And the Lions, in return, gave up a 2025 fifth rounder and a 2026 sixth rounder. The key to all of this is the Detroit Lions are only paying $605,000 for Za'Darius Smith for 2024. You want to talk about pulling the rug out from somebody. Brad Holmes, the evil genius, the positional villain, once again has struck a blockbuster move to bring in a top-tier defensive end, which I think he's a top-tier defensive end, to add to this team to give us an opportunity to make a run for a Super Bowl. Now, Za'Darius Smith has 5 sacks in 9 games this season. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. He has 65 career sacks over the past 10 seasons with the Browns, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Ravens. He is 32 years old, but I would say he's a young 32 years old right now. He posted a 30.6 pass rush win rate in the 3 games since Hutchinson's injury, ranking 26th in the NFL during that stretch. So with Aiden Hutchinson suffering a broken tibia and fibula, in week 6 and undergoing surgery, the Lions were really trying to pull something together here. Find somebody, anybody, to help get some production. You're never going to be able to replace Aiden Hutchinson, but now it's replacing some of that production that we have lost. In the time that Aiden Hutchinson has actually been gone, though, you'd be surprised to know that the Detroit Lions have actually played pretty well defensively. They have been, at the top of the league as far as pressures in each week, at the top of the league in giving up, a very, limited time to throw against quarterbacks, typically under 2.86 seconds, which is very commensurate to what Jared Goff has been facing. But the Lions, even though they're not producing a ton of sacks, they're finding ways to win. And they're finding ways to win with pressure, which is then turning into turnovers. So when you pressure, you get a sack, or you pressure, you get a turnover. Which one is better? Right now, the Lions are winning. They're winning by a lot, and the defense is helping limit the opportunities for the opposing offense by taking the ball away. So Za'Darius Smith is now being added to the fold for the Detroit Lions. I'm extremely excited, but I don't think the Lions are done. I think that there's going to be more coming up this afternoon, and if there's not, pay attention to the practice squads around the league. Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell himself said yesterday that the Lions will be poaching some practice squads if they can't get, the right deals done. We don't know if it's one guy or 2 guys that are headed to the Detroit Lions, but we know one name for sure, and that is Za'Darius Smith is now a new Detroit Lion. He'll be added to the fold later on today, and super excited to see him in as quickly as possible. Could be even as quick as this next upcoming game versus the Texans. It'll be exciting to see where this leads to. I hope that he stays healthy. Welcome to the team. Welcome to the Pride, Za'Darius Smith. It's going to be a joy watching you work alongside the rest of this defense for the remaining part of the season. And might I add one more thing. This is the guy that I said made the most sense for the Lions now for several weeks. This is the guy that I expected the Detroit Lions to bring into this team. If you need receipts, just go back to week 6 and week 7 and watch some of the videos that I put out. But this is the guy that made the most sense. Age-wise, production-wise, salary-wise, draft capital-wise, it all made perfect sense. It never made sense for the Lions to bring in a Max Crosby or a Myles Garrett or anybody else that was going to cost multiple first-round and or second-round picks and limit what this defense would be able to do in the future without having picks to be able to back up, guys like Aiden Hutchinson with a young rookie defensive end, or, adding that offensive lineman that we're going to need here pretty soon after Kevin Zeitler may or may not return next season. Brad Holmes has been amazing throughout the draft. He's been hitting on well over 88% of his draft picks. And what I mean by that is every single draft pick that he's brought in, 88% of them have started on this team or have remained on this team or both. So you don't see that very often. You don't see a general manager have this much success with guys that aren't only starting, but they're having success in the game. So credit Brad Holmes for what he's been able to do. I never expected him to give up a bunch of future draft capital and really hinder what this team's success would be in the future. Sustainability is a real thing in the NFL. It doesn't last for long. That's why the NFL is not for long, right? It doesn't last for long in the NFL. So you have to be able to supplement and backfill, the positions that you have. You can't pay everybody. You can't go out and pay everybody and continue to bring in high price free agents and give away your draft, capital for the future. Matt Millen did that, and we just got out from underneath the Matt Millen era 2 seasons ago. I don't think that we ever want to go back to that. The Lions are winning ball games. They're playing at a high level. We have a nucleus that is locked up now through 2028. This type of pick, this type of trade with Za'Darius Smith not only helps us here for 2024, but it also helps us in 2025. He's also under contract with no guaranteed money left on his deal. So the Lions can walk away or pay a minimum amount of money to keep him around, which is what I expect that they're going to have to do. Maybe they work out a new deal. Maybe they don't. But right now, Za'Darius Smith will be with the Detroit Lions through 2025. That's all for this episode. Go on Pride, go Detroit Lions. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.